The movie starts in the Amazon rainforest in 1973. There we see Constance, a woman with a camera, taking pictures of a spider web. Suddenly, a man named Ezekiel appears with an umbrella in the rain. He asks if Constance is close to finding something. She tells him they're looking for rare spiders whose venom could give superhuman strength. Then Ezekiel talks about a tribe called Las Arañas who are said to have superhuman abilities from these spiders. However, Constance focuses on science, not legends. She believes the spider's venom could cure diseases. After this, Constance, who is pregnant, takes the umbrella from Ezekiel, who sneaks into her tent to take pictures of her work. Suddenly, Constance returns with the captured spider, but Ezekiel shoots her and demands the spider. However, she refuses to give it to him and is shot. During this, the mystical spider people arrive and Ezekiel runs away with the spider while they take Constance to their tribe. One of the spider people puts a spider on Constance, which bites her. They help her give birth to a baby girl. Then one of the tribesmen tells Constance that her journey will be tough, but she's strong. After this, he promises to answer her questions when she returns. Constance reaches for her baby but faints. The next scene takes us to New York in 2003. There we see Cassandra, known as Cassie, a paramedic in Manhattan. She's a bit awkward but dedicated to her job. Then we see Cassie driving the ambulance taking a patient to the hospital while her partner Ben tends to the patient. Suddenly, a teenager on a skateboard rudely cuts in front of them, making Cassie frustrated. At the hospital, the child of the woman they saved thanks Cassie with a homemade card. Cassie is unsure what to do with it, but Ben advises her to toss it away later. Over dinner, Ben shares that he's met someone special. Back home, Cassie goes through her late mother Constance's belongings. Here, we get to know that Cassie is Constance's daughter. She discovers her mother's notes about the spider search, sparking her curiosity. During another emergency response, Cassie and Ben rescue a man trapped in an overturned car. As Cassie gets stuck inside, the vehicle plunges into the water. In a surreal moment, she envisions a massive spider web before Ben pulls her to safety. While Ben tends to her, Cassie experiences a sudden flash of the future, hearing Ben's exact words before he speaks them. It's as if she's gained psychic abilities, foreseeing future events like a clairvoyant. In the next scene, Ezekiel is seen sleeping next to a woman he met at the opera. He has a recurring dream where his mystical spider goes missing and he's confronted by 3 spider women who ultimately kill him. It is revealed that Ezekiel, who gained powers from the spider, including clairvoyance, sees this vision every day, haunting him with the inevitability of his demise. Disturbed by his dream, Ezekiel confides in the woman, revealing his desire to seek vengeance against the 3 women. Using technology from the NSA, the woman helps Ezekiel track down his targets. However, after extracting information from her, Ezekiel ultimately kills her, driven by his thirst for revenge. Meanwhile, Cassie joins Ben's family for a gender reveal party at his house. It is revealed that Mary, Ben's sister-in-law who is married to his brother Richard, is expecting a baby. During the festivities, they share fond memories of their mothers, and Cassie recounts her mother's tragic death in the Amazon. As they play a game guessing Mary's baby's name, Cassie experiences flashes of the future, feeling a sense of déjà vu. Later, at an emergency site, Cassie's vision of fellow paramedic O'Neill's accident comes true. Meanwhile, Ezekiel gains access to NSA tracking technology through Amaria, his technology assistant. Using this, he identifies 3 young women, Julia Cornwall, Maddie Franklin, and Anya Corazon, as potential spider women in the future. Seeking help for her visions, Cassie visits a doctor who finds her vitals normal and advises rest. Back home, she witnesses a pigeon colliding with her window, then disappearing upon her second glance. Realizing this is a vision, Cassie opens the window, allowing the pigeon to enter, prompting her to believe she can alter the future. Meanwhile, on her way via subway, Amaria informs Ezekiel that the 3 potential spider women are on the same platform as Cassie. Then we see Cassie on the train envision Ezekiel attacking the girls. Sensing the danger, she quickly gets them off the train. As they flee, Ezekiel, dressed in a Spider-Man-esque suit, pursues them. The girls seek help from the police, but they mistake Cassie for the kidnapper. In the chaos, Ezekiel assaults the officers, allowing the girls to escape. Now, with their parents unavailable, Cassie becomes their guardian, listening to police reports labeling her as the kidnapper. Cassie decides to take the girls to a jungle to lay low for a while. During their time together, the girls inquire about Ezekiel and why he wanted to harm them, but Cassie is clueless. However, they soon realize that they already know Cassie as she saved Julia's stepmother earlier. Maddie is the girl who flipped off Cassie, and Anya lives in Cassie's building. After this, Cassie reveals her ability to see the future, leaving the girls a bit skeptical. Despite this, Julia encourages them to trust Cassie. Back at her home, Cassie removes the taxi's number plate and sneaks in through the fire exit. There, she discovers her mother's notes about the spider people who gain powers from spider venom, much like Ezekiel. The notes mention a 6th sense akin to clairvoyance. Now, to test her skills, Cassie attempts to climb a wall like Ezekiel but fails. She also finds a picture of her mother and Ezekiel together. Meanwhile, in the jungle, the girls bond and learn about each other's lives. Maddie reveals that she lives with her house help as her parents are often away. Julia lives with her dad, stepmother, and their son due to financial struggles. Maddie suggests heading to a nearby diner that she saw while coming there, and Julia reluctantly agrees. At the diner, they order food and notice a group of boys. Maddie wants to talk to them, but Anya disagrees. Meanwhile, a man at the diner reads about the abducted girls in the newspaper and recognizes Maddie, Julia, and Anya. He calls the police, but the call is intercepted by Amaria, who informs Ezekiel. Ezekiel, pretending to be a trooper, calls the police to report fake sightings and cancels backup while he himself heads toward the location of the girls. Meanwhile, Cassie arrives at the woods as it gets dark and realizes the girls are missing. She follows their footsteps and finds them dancing on a table at the diner. Angry that they disobeyed her, Cassie approaches them, but Ezekiel arrives wearing his spider suit. Ezekiel attacks the people in the diner before targeting Julia, banging her head on a table. Cassie tries to defend them but is overpowered by Ezekiel. He grabs Maddie and injects her with poison, then tosses her aside. Cassie tries to fight back with a knife but is stabbed by Ezekiel. However, it turns out to be a vision and Cassie is still in the jungle. After this, Cassie rushes to the diner in a taxi, narrowly avoiding an accident. Inside, Maddie and Julia dance on the table while Anya is sitting beside them. Suddenly, Cassie reaches there and crashes into Ezekiel with the taxi, allowing the girls to escape. They drive to a motel where Cassie learns about the girls' troubled family situations. It is revealed that Julia's mother is in a psychiatric ward, Maddie's parents are out of the country, and Anya's father was deported. So, they can't go to the police for help, but Cassie promises to get them home in the morning. At night, while the girls sleep, Cassie sneaks out to the diner and has a telepathic meeting with Ezekiel. In the vision, she learns why he wants to kill the girls, and suddenly, she wakes up back at the motel. The next morning, Cassie teaches the girls about Ezekiel's dangerous touch and how to perform CPR. She also shares details about her mother and Ezekiel and warns them to be careful of the dangers ahead. Now, wanting to learn more about the spider people, Cassie leaves the girls with Ben and heads to the Amazon. There, she meets the tribe man who saved her mother and learns about Ezekiel's curse for stealing a spider. After this, the man pushes her into the water where she was born, and Cassie has a vision of reconciling with her mother. After meeting her mother, she discovers that her powers are just beginning and her mind holds great potential. Meanwhile, Ezekiel threatens Amaria to find the girls. At Ben's house, Mary suddenly goes into labor. Seeing this, Ben calls an ambulance, but it's an emergency, so he and the girls decide to take Mary to the hospital themselves. During this, Ezekiel spots them and learns their location. Returning to Ben's house, Cassie finds it locked and has a vision of Ezekiel harming them. Meanwhile, Ezekiel instructs Amaria to manipulate the traffic lights, turning them all green, causing Ben to get caught in a traffic jam. As Ezekiel prepares to drop a bomb onto Ben's car from the hood, Cassie reaches the ambulance just in time. With a daring move, she leaps the ambulance from the second floor and collides with Ezekiel in midair, knocking him off balance. The impact causes the bomb to fall far away from its intended target. Cassie hurriedly gets the girls into the ambulance and tells Ben to take Mary to safety. She drives off with Ezekiel hot on their heels, leaping from car to car in pursuit. When he catches up to them, Cassie and the girls use the defibrillator to shock him, giving them a chance to escape. But soon, their ambulance breaks down. After this, Cassie has a vision and realizes they need help. She asks for air support at a nearby place, which happens to be a building scheduled for demolition. However, they learn that it's packed with explosives. Cassie grabs a bag of flares from the ambulance and gives them to the girls, asking them to mark the crates of explosives with the flares. As Ezekiel arrives, explosions erupt all around them, but Cassie guides the girls safely through the chaos using her visions. They reach the rooftop where they spot the helicopter for air support, but they're surrounded by explosions. Cassie uses her power to help them navigate through the danger, but just as they're about to reach the helicopter, Ezekiel appears. During this, Cassie sees a vision of an explosive heading their way and warns Julia to take cover. But instead of letting it harm him, Ezekiel punches the explosive, causing it to hit the helicopter. This causes the helicopter to explode and Ezekiel starts attacking them. As the girls almost fall into the fire from different sides, Cassie finally uses her power. She appears near each girl at the same time, connected by a spiderweb-like thread to her real self. This helps Cassie save all three of them from danger, but Ezekiel doesn't stop. He keeps chasing Cassie, who leads him towards a falling sign she saw earlier in her vision. Luckily, Ezekiel gets trapped under the sign for a moment. But in all the chaos, Cassie also falls into the water. Now, there's another danger and explosive coming at her. Seeing this, Julia bravely jumps in and saves Cassie, who is unconscious and doesn't wake up. Now, the girls decide to perform CPR, trying hard to bring her back. Cassie finally wakes up, but her eyes are hurt from the explosion. Meanwhile, Mary has her baby, bringing a bit of happiness. After this, Cassie goes to the hospital and the girls promise to stay with her. In the days after, Cassie comes back home in a wheelchair with glasses because of her eyes. But she realizes her powers are still there. When the girls visit, Cassie tells them she can see even better now. As the movie ends, Cassie sees a vision of herself and the girls as future heroes, strong and brave in tough times. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.